Let's talk about something really tough, the empathy trap. It's this crazy, twisted situation where the best part of you, your greatest strength, actually becomes their favorite target. We're going to break down exactly how that works. I bet you've asked yourself this maybe 1,000 times. After a fight, or a betrayal, or just one of those moments of unbelievable cruelty, you're just left spinning, right? Thinking, how could they do that? You just know deep down that if you could just find the perfect words, just show them how much it hurts, something would have to click. But here's the cold realization that changes the entire game. And this is really the core of what we're talking about today. What if they're not refusing to care? What if, and this is a big one, what if they literally, physically can't? Okay, so to get what's going on, you've got to realize this isn't a normal fight. It's what's called an asymmetrical conflict. Basically, you're playing a different game entirely. So what does that mean, asymmetrical conflict? It's actually pretty simple. You're playing for connection. You want to understand, you want to fix things, you want to be close. But them, they're playing for control. Their only goal is to win, to dominate, to manage you. And once you see that, everything has to change. You can even think about this in like evolutionary terms. You're what we'd call the cooperator. You're the one building the tribe, sharing, feeling what others feel. You're what makes a community work. And then you have the mimic. They look like a cooperator. They talk like one, but their real job, it's to exploit the whole system, to take resources and to use your pain as a tool to get what they want. All right, this next part is maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle. It explains why you can never seem to get through to them. It's because this isn't a failure of your love. It's a problem of hardware. See, neuroscience tells us empathy isn't just one thing. It's actually two different things. First, you've got cognitive empathy. Think of this as a tool. It's the intellectual ability to understand what's going on in someone else's head. Then you have affective empathy. This is the bond. It's the ability to actually feel what someone else is feeling in your own body. Now, here is the glitch in their hardware. They've got tons of the first one, cognitive empathy, but the second one, affective empathy, they have none. And that is what makes them so incredibly dangerous. It's a chilling combination, isn't it? They can read your soul like a map, but they don't feel the fire when they burn it. They know exactly what hurts you, what you're afraid of, not because they care, but because they're taking notes. So, do you see it now? Every time you try to explain yourself, every time you give more love, more patience, more understanding, you are trying to fix a hardware problem with software. It's like trying to run the latest video game on a computer from 1985. It's just not going to work. Your love, your words, they can't rewrite their brain. Okay, so that's the why. But how does the trap actually work? Let's get into the mechanisms of control they use. The main engine of this whole trap is something called intermittent reinforcement. And if you've ever wondered, why is this so hard to walk away from? Well, this is your answer. It's literally the most powerful addiction mechanic there is. It's the exact same thing that gets people hooked on slot machines. I mean, think about it, right? It's so simple when you see it. If they were just mean 100% of the time, you'd leave in a day. It would be a no-brainer. But they don't do that. They're smart. They mix in just enough of the good stuff to keep you hoping, to keep you hooked. And this is a really tough pill to swallow, but it's crucial. That nice version of them, the one you're always hoping will stick around this time, that's not the real them. That is the bait. That's the little jackpot that makes you put another coin in the machine and pull the lever one more time. All right, that's a lot to take in, I know. That's the problem. So let's talk about the solution. How do you defend yourself? It's all about a massive shift in mindset, from absorbing all that emotion to just observing it. This new defense protocol really comes down to two simple but game-changing steps. First, stop explaining. And second, observe, don't absorb. Let's dig into what that actually means. Okay, step one. Every time you explain your feelings, when you did this, it made me feel like that. You think you're building a bridge. You think you're fostering understanding. You're not. You are giving them data. You are literally handing them the instruction manual on how to hurt you more effectively next time. And that brings us to step two. Observe, don't absorb. This is all about creating that emotional distance. So when they start up with the rage or the manipulation or whatever it is, you need a new mantra. Instead of getting sucked into the drama, you just tell yourself, the machine is functioning as designed. You see it not as a person having a bad day, but as a system running its program. That little bit of detachment, that's your shield. A really practical way to do this is something called the gray rock method. See, your big emotional reactions, the tears, the anger, that's their fuel. That's what they're after. So the goal of gray rock is to become as boring and uninteresting as, well, a gray rock. You give short, factual answers, no emotion. You basically starve the interaction of what it needs to survive, and you cut off their reward system. Now, sometimes you can't just go completely gray rock, right? Like if you're co-parenting or it's a colleague. For that, there's a great tool called BIFE. It stands for brief, informative, friendly, and firm. The whole point is to communicate what's necessary without justifying, arguing, defending, or explaining. A BIFE response is polite, it gets the job done, but it gives them absolutely nothing emotional to latch onto. It just ends the conversation. Okay, we're coming to the end here, and this is maybe the most important part of all. It's a total reframe. It's about changing the story you've been telling yourself about why this happened to you, because that story is probably wrong. Please listen to this. Really let it sink in. You are targeted not because you are weak. It's the absolute opposite. You're targeted because you are a high yield of supply. Your light, your warmth, your empathy, that's the good stuff. That's the resource they desperately need because they can't make it themselves. A great way to think about it is like a black hole, right? A black hole creates no light of its own. It only exists by pulling in and consuming the light from all the stars around it. That's them. They need your light, your energy, just to feel something. So that's the final truth. That light you have, that empathy that you've probably started to think of as a liability, a weakness, it's not. It is your power. It's not your liability. It belongs to you, and it's time to take it back. So here we are, back at the beginning, but hopefully with a lot more clarity. You just cannot love a machine into having a soul. You can't fix a hardware problem with software. The very first step to getting free is just accepting the hardware for what it is. So the real question isn't, how could they do that anymore? The real question is, now that you see it for what it is, what are you going to do?